The main objective of the reform of the penitentiary service is to improve the conditions for prisoners, reduce the number of employees of the system, and close some prisons. Through those steps, the expenses on their upkeep could be reduced by millions. And most importantly, to make it possible for people who have had to deal with the penitentiary system to return to a normal life. One of the main innovations of this reform will be the creation of a probation service, which will bring the penal system to European standards. Ukrainian officials are building the new structure together with Norwegian experts. The memorandum on cooperation with the government of Norway has already been signed. This country has a positive experience in the reform of its own prison system, although quick results are not to be expected since everything is being created from scratch.
Ми дуже великі такі сподівання і надії маємо саме на службу пробації.
We have high expectations for the probation service. International experience shows that it's possible to re-socialize a person and change their world outlook without imprisonment. This not only has social advantages, but it brings advantages for the national budget. After all, savings from the application of the probation system are 1 to 10, which in fact means we'll save 1,000%. Probation is not only the monitoring of people who have been released from prison. This is an approach to punishment, which we understand that the relative majority of crimes is cheaper, and from the vantage point of the safety of society, it's better not to put people in prison, but to control them and try to change their behavior. Today, there are many international treaties, conventions, and regulations designed to improve conditions for prisoners. Ukraine, as a member of the Council of Europe, should take advantage of the European prison rules of 1987, which were adopted within the framework of the Council of Europe. We are placing a huge wager on the reform of the prison system. If fewer people are detained or serve sentences in prison, the conditions would inherently become better. The main element of reform in this sphere is to reduce the large number of employees. We are talking about those that are only doing paperwork.
Ми отримали в спадок фактично радянську репресивну тюремну систему, яка не зазнавала будь-яких змін ще, напевно, з 30-х років минулого сторіччя. І протягом останніх 25 років жодному...
We inherited the repressive Soviet prison system, which hasn't been changed since the 1930s.
І була держава від держави, що
Over the past 25 years, no government was able to make even minimal or cosmetic changes to the system. It was a state within a state. This is one of the most difficult reforms as the system faces major challenges. We've decided to make a humane prison system. Until now, 148 penitentiary facilities had been operating in Ukraine. They were built for almost 230,000 prisoners, but on average, around 60,000 prisoners are serving their sentences. While the rest of the institutions are half empty, funds from the national budget are still being spent on them. That's why 14 of them have already been shut down. Reform and any service, like any system, must be dynamic and alive. And if there are challenges in today's world, the system must be quickly reformed. Reform will apply to certain large blocks in prisons. I think in 2 or 3 years, we will be able to reconstruct them, and then the system will be effectively changed in accordance with the challenges of society. Experts believe that the EU perceives penal policy not as a state's right to implement enforcement, but as a mechanism for ensuring the safety of society. Therefore, European politicians are implementing the latest reforms, which are an alternative to imprisonment. It is most important that after a period of detention or after a verdict, a person will be able to re-socialize and become needed in society. And then society will be rejected, and then society will be ready to accept ex-cons.
Людина, яка вчинила помилку в своєму житті, має право на повернення до нормального життя.
A person who has made a mistake in their life has the right to return to a normal life after admitting their mistakes and being released from prison. The main purpose of reform is to improve prison conditions, reduce the number of civil servants as official pushers, and introduce the probation service. At the end of the last year, the state penitentiary service was liquidated. The objective and functions of the implementation of state policy in the sphere of execution of criminal punishment is now the responsibility of the Ministry of Justice. By choosing to implement international standards of reform, Ukraine will unchain the shackles of the Soviet penal system and will build a European model of relations in society based on the best world experience.